There was a time when ownership was the foundation of freedom. People worked, saved money, and eventually built a life that truly belonged to them. Buying a house was not just a financial achievement, but also a sense of security. A car was a symbol of independence. Physical photographs, books, vinyl records, and games had a real place in people's lives. People felt connected to their neighborhoods. There was community. There was permanence. Life seemed slower. But in recent years, the world has quietly begun to change. Today, for a large part of younger generations, owning a home no longer feels like a realistic goal. Even when salaries increase in many countries, rent and housing prices rise much faster. People are now forced to spend most of their income simply to survive, especially after the 2008 financial crisis. The system evolved in a different direction. Banks were rescued, large corporations continued to grow, but the economic security of ordinary people slowly weakened. For the first time, many people felt that the system would not always protect them. The pandemic period accelerated this process even further. Supply chains collapsed, inflation increased, energy prices rose, interest rates climbed. In many parts of the world, people began calculating even basic necessities more carefully. And at the same time, the modern economy was shifting toward a different model. In the past, companies sold products. Now, they sell access. People used to buy music albums. Now, they pay monthly subscriptions. People used to build movie collections. Now, content can disappear from platforms overnight. Video games used to be truly purchased. Now people own digital licenses. If your account gets closed, you can lose access to the things you paid for. The digital world has turned into an invisible rental system. And most people do not notice it because the system presents it as comfort and convenience. Modern technology really did make life faster. We can access any song within seconds. We can instantly watch movies. Cloud systems allow us to access our files from anywhere. But in exchange, physical ownership is slowly disappearing. There was a time when people passed down record collections, books, or photo albums to their children. Now, many memories are stored on digital servers, and technology companies have started controlling not only the tools people use, but also people's digital lives. The same transformation is happening in cities. In some major cities around the world, investment companies and giant funds are purchasing thousands of homes. Houses are no longer places to live in, but assets for investment. Because of this, younger generations are starting families later and later, because the feeling of economic security is fading. Many people are no longer simply working. They are constantly trying to keep up. Rent is increasing, food prices are rising, debts are growing, and people feel as if they are running inside a system that never stops moving. Perhaps this is the biggest transformation of the modern economy. It no longer offers people a completed life, but an endless cycle of payments, monthly subscriptions, loans, rent, installments, renewal fees. The payments never end. In the past, people bought a product and it became theirs. Today, many services only provide temporary access. Even cars are changing. Many people are turning toward leasing systems instead of purchasing vehicles. Because vehicle prices keep increasing, maintenance costs are rising, insurance expenses are growing. The modern economy encourages temporary usage instead of long-term ownership. And this creates not only financial consequences, but psychological ones as well. Because ownership is not just an economic concept, it is also a sense of control. People want to feel that certain parts of their lives truly belong to them. They want to belong somewhere. They want to build roots. They want a permanent sense of order. But the modern world is constantly changing. People move more often. Jobs are becoming more temporary. Cities transform faster. Neighborhood culture is fading, and this creates an invisible sense of insecurity in many people. Perhaps this is why modern life feels artificial to some people, because everything is becoming more temporary. Restaurants are designed for social media photographs. Homes are built for investment purposes. People create content for algorithms. Companies try to keep human attention for as long as possible. Even attention itself has become an economic product. Today, technology companies are buying people's time. Social media platforms sell human attention to advertising companies, and people live under constant information overload. Phone, notifications, advertisements, trends, new products, new subscriptions. The modern economy consumes not only people's money, but also their mental energy. This is why so many people feel exhausted, because the system never stops. You constantly need to move faster. You constantly need to become more productive. You constantly need to appear more successful. And social media intensifies this pressure even further. Every day, millions of people see luxury lifestyles online. They see success stories. They see expensive vacations, and they compare their own lives to them. But behind many of these images, there is still debt. There is performance. There is artificiality. The modern economy no longer only sells products. It sells identity. It sells dreams. It sells lifestyles. And people work more, consume more, and borrow more in order to get closer to those dreams. Throughout history, economic crises did not only change markets, they also changed human psychology. During the Great Depression of 1929, millions of people lost their jobs. The oil crises of the 1970s shook the global economy. The financial collapse of 2008 weakened people's trust in banks and institutions. But today, we are living through a different kind of era. Because the modern crisis is not only economic, it is also emotional. People struggle to plan their futures. They no longer believe they will ever buy a home. The feeling of long-term security is disappearing. And perhaps this is why nostalgia is growing. Because people do not romanticize the past because it was perfect, but because it felt more real, more genuine. Relationships, more genuine communities, a slower feeling of life. Today, many people feel lonelier despite living in the most technologically advanced period in human history, because the modern system keeps people constantly connected while simultaneously pushing them to constantly consume. And now, with the rise of artificial intelligence, a new fear is emerging. Many people believe automation will eventually take over jobs. Fields like art, software, media, and customer service are rapidly changing. For the first time, people are experiencing not only economic uncertainty, but existential uncertainty as well. Because as technology advances, humanity's role inside the system itself is starting to be questioned. Perhaps this is the greatest paradox of the modern world. No generation in history has ever possessed this much technology, information, and convenience. Yet at the same time, many people have never felt this fragile before. Because ownership is not simply about possessing material things. Ownership is also the feeling of freedom, the feeling of control, the feeling of security. And when people begin losing those feelings, the emotional state of society begins to change as well. Today, many people are working but no longer feel like they are moving forward because the system never stops moving. The goal keeps getting further away. Perhaps this is why the modern economy increasingly feels like a racetrack to so many people, a race where the moment you stop running, you fall behind. And perhaps the most frightening question is this: if in the future we will no longer truly own anything, how will people preserve the feeling of freedom?